play between men and women, and thoughts on marriage and really being in the true love vibration. And that's what I'll start with. It's this idea of true love. It's the only way, you know, they talk about loving yourself before you can extend that energy and that love and that intention to another person. And what true love entails is being willing to have sex with yourself every day, so that way you manage that lower energy, that chakra, second chakra, and that's not the main force that's influencing your life. And and then it's like, are you preparing for your spouse? That would be the first question. Are you preparing for them? And you have to prepare for them by being in that love vibration. Now, let's look into let's start looking at my notes here. So, there's these quote unquote alpha male guys online like Fresh and Fit, and Andrew Tate, uh, but do they want a woman who is is fierce and protective? Is fierce and possessive? Like, that's real love. That's when you would, kill to protect your spouse. You would be with them through the ups and downs of life and everything. Okay? And I would posit that these men want these submissive women, but you need a woman that's able to be a man in certain situations, be it to protect you physically. She should be able to, have combat skills, at least weapon skills, and be willing to, protect, and the same, she should have financial skills and everything else. Even if the main role she does is, raise the kids and be able to be in her feminine. Like, being in the feminine should be a choice. Even though women are more naturally predisposed to doing it, being in the feminine should be a choice. And I would say it's a courageous choice for women to choose that, okay, I'm going to be in my feminine energy, and I'm going to, and part of that involves like following your father, and like letting him protect you and wanting his protection and guidance, like things like when he says come home immediately after school, don't wear certain clothing, all that. And then it's like, why wouldn't you trust your father's guidance? And I would imagine most fathers are decent enough to be able to provide this guardianship and proper advice. There are some who are wayward or incompetent fathers, but okay, so moving on. If you look at this, I'm talking about a little assessment, a personal assessment of a man. So would he rather suck nipples or vulva? That's the difference between a child and a man, or a baby and a man. And I'm not saying that it, of course, it's fun to play and interact with women in all types of ways, but it's important to worship Goddess V, the vulva, and that it's kind of a beyond the realm of sexual activity, beyond the realm of impregnation, beyond the realm of penis and vagina sex. Okay, so would you rather receive oral sex or provide it? Again, that's the difference between a masculine man and a feminine man. The feminine man would rather receive it. The masculine man wants to take lead and provide it. And this isn't to suggest, of course, that all types of fun interactions with your wife would be, would be worthwhile, but the essence of it is that will help you to feel like a man, and is stuff like, would you rather get sexual attention from women, or would you rather provide it? Okay? Just like how, have you ever noticed as a man, have you ever like dressed up really nicely and started getting attention from women? It's uncomforting in a way. I think it's like it's important for, I mean, of course it's fun to dress up. All this stuff is fun. I'm just talking about the nuance, like that you should always, as a man, a masculine man, you should always want to lean in the direction of you being the actor, and you being, you know, the woman being the object of desire or affection. And people might be hesitant when I use the term object to agree with me, but you know, a physical body isn't an object, and there's nothing more attractive than a woman. There's nothing more attractive than her vulva. Therefore, we should be focusing on it like it's, and treating it like it's the most attractive, most valuable, most sacred object. And you know, this has been done in history. People have, you know, fathers have protected their daughters as if it's their most valuable possession. And these days, a lot of fathers, they'll send their daughter to school, give them money, give them a car to go to college and dorm. And what do they expect is going to happen? Of course, the woman's going to be kind of persuaded and by her desires and by predatory men who, and you know, young men who are trying to get after the daughter. Okay, so what else do we have here? We have, are you preparing for your future spouse instead of being promiscuous? And in the love, are you in the frequency of love or lust? Now, people say, "Oh, I don't want to get married," but guess what? If she was attractive enough, both physically and mentally, and had like similar values, then you not only would you want to marry her, but you'd want to wait till marriage before intimacy because you had a such an attraction to her. Okay, so what I notice is that men who try to seduce women and want like women's approval and their validating energy, that's a feminine thing. To want, you know, to want it, like this is what happens with a lot of guys who are, you know, they're all trying to have as much intercourse as with as many women as possible. It's because they want approval from women, which is very feminine. You know, if you really know who you are as a principled man, you should be able to focus and be patient and wait for your spouse, and that's also respectful towards other men and not trying to seduce their future wives and other men's daughters and sisters and everything. It's like how do we build a degree of trust in society? Like in the past, men would talk to the woman's father and talk to him about, well, he's interested in her, instead of trying to seduce her first, because you know, women are more emotional, and their decision making can't be trusted. Look, think about it. Does women do what? What do? They get breast implants, they get augmentation, they kill their own children in their room, they take stuff that affects their hormones for birth control. Like men would never do any of those things. You know, they put on makeup and wear high heels, which is both unhealthy for your getting into your skin, and high heels. You know, men don't do stuff like that. They get all these earrings, and women just women, even if they have a, you know, great man in marriage and a guy that they're attracted to both mentally and physically, the woman will still want attention from other men, who like, they'll want the quote unquote bad boy, quote unquote, guy who won't commit to her. That's the one she's attracted to, because because she thinks that he's harder to get, and that's because he is, you know, not paying attention to her, and that makes him more valuable. Like it's a crazy psychology that actually goes into the women's decision making process, and doing stuff like trying to, you know, look rich, like buy all this fancy stuff and go on vacations, like, and then post it online, instead of trying to save up money for their family. And I'm not saying every woman is like that. I'm not saying men aren't like that, but I'm saying that women kind of, you know, they run off their emotions more, and part of it's hard to control. It's like they have strong hormones that influence them more than men do, and that these sometimes, you know, during their period during the month, it makes them really want to uh, get impregnated so that they can have a child. So continuing on, and another thing is what men will do is they'll like pretend to agree with women, and they'll pretend to want to like hear all their hours of talking and everything, and it's only because they want to have sex with the woman. If they were really a man, they would prefer a woman that would be like a wife to them, like a quiet woman, like a woman who wanted a man to lead her. She wanted the leadership of a strong man. uh, okay, so it's like a woman who wants to take a man's last name. Like if she wouldn't want that, then that means that she wants a feminine man. If she really wants a masculine man, she needs to, realize what that means and realize what her role would be too. All right, so continuing on. Yeah, like I was saying, women can act crazy. Even if they have a man that they're happily married to and they like and they're attracted, they still want to get more attention from other guys. And that's not necessarily bad. Like I myself, I think that married women should show off their bodies, but only when their man's around, and only like for example, I like the idea of obviously looking at naked women, but I would only want to do it within the context of giving her husband money to, and then for her to show off. That's another thing. It's important not to give women money because they have hard enough, challenges, existential challenges of having to raise children, everything, and bear children, and to suggest that anything is more valuable than that, like a career that they're gonna, try to get a master's degree in, and then have debt, and then have children and not apply the master's degree, and then pay other people to like, raise their children, like, man. Okay. All right, so, and then women are also have more sexual fluidity, so that's lending to the, like, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but I'm saying that it's not stable. Maybe crazy isn't the right word, but it's stable. And then, like women will dress to get attention, and then get and look at them, and and but women should be paid attention to. But I really think that like women should, like if I was a woman, I would want to find a father figure and give him the money. If I had to work for some reason, I would want to give him the money to help me manage it. uh, um, um, Women are the most attractive thing, and it's important as men not to be distracted by all these things in the world, like technology and cars and pets. Especially, I don't like pets. I really don't. I like to focus all my energy on humans, specifically women. Uh, okay, so what else do we have here? So, when people say things like they want sex before marriage, uh, I challenge you. I say, do you want to have a conversation about it? Do you, if you really like that position, would you be willing to say it in public? You know, like a lot of these people, they hide everything. They hide their secret, sexual interactions, and they call them situationships and all these stupid half-hearted terms like we're dating, we're seeing each other, we're all this nonsense. It's just all it is unloving, and it's unloving premarital intimacy, because it suggests that rather than commit, that sex is more important than marriage and commitment. Uh, so so like a man not wanting to earn money is like a woman not wanting to raise her kids. So it's things to be conscious of. The reason people are promiscuous is because men and women are younger. They are perverted. They are more unloving because they don't haven't been taught how to love themselves. The reason people haven't been taught to how to love themselves is because they are taught only to love their parents and label people as parents. But as a man, you can't label someone your authority. You have to be your own authority. You have to be your own man. You can't label somebody as your father. You need to be your own father. Uh, you can't label someone as mother. You need to label people as equals and start to learn how to be playing the field, the game of life as an equal player, not expecting anything financially or emotional support from your uncles and quote unquote, any relatives, blood relatives. And furthermore, the concept of blood relatives, right? If one of them was deviant, would you agree to call them your brother or father? Or you shouldn't call anyone your father, but would you be willing to call them your fellow kins person? And if not, then the reality is, and everyone would agree, that people commit to each other because of morals, not biological, blood relative, legal relations. Again, people commit to each other because of their morality that they share or their similar values, not because they're legally related. And again, it's for men to follow logic, and we can try to have women do this too, but because women often what they do is they kind of follow each other around, or they follow authority figures, or they follow their emotions. And really, it's not women that do that, it's the feminine. That's why some women can maybe either take hormone, modification stuff or whatnot, and they can think more like the genetically Y chromosome man thinks. Another concept that I'm emphasizing is for people to consider things like consider veganism, consider no premarital intimacy. If like it's a good like start of a debate. It's like, have you ever even considered no intimacy until marriage? Have you ever even considered eating only vegan food? You know? Okay. Okay, so let's see, what else? They say that guys want to go on dates and have sex. It's actually not exactly true. What guys want is they want to get off. And once they do, they're able to see more clearly and choose love instead of lust. All right. Now, yeah, if you don't want to marry someone, it means you don't think you're attractive enough, and you know, and it means you don't think a person is attractive enough. So be conscious of that. Like I said, it's a perfect debate argument. It's if someone says, "Oh, I hate marriage," if you said that, well, if there was someone who had the same values as you and someone you were attracted to, they'd say yes, you'd be willing to marry them. So that means you do want to get married. And you do not want to have a heartbreak or something half-hearted like premarital intimacy, where people get attached to the sex and not to love. It's not even sex; it's just the feeling of getting off, and it's not very meaningful. Like I said, worshiping God is V. And plus these quote unquote alpha men and men who try to be intimate with multiple women, like obviously those women are being intimate with other men as well. So isn't it, why would you want other men to be near a vulva that you interacted with, or, it makes no sense. Let's see. This idea that you need to have sex with women and talk to them and know how to interact with them in order to prepare for marriage, it's nonsense, because why wouldn't you want to wait till your spouse in order to experience in a sense of uh, um, a sense of security that they would, they're always going to be with you. And then it's also efficiency, and it's all like I was saying earlier, it's collective trust as to, refraining from premarital intimacy. And then like ways to avoid premarital intimacy, like some may think pornography and whatnot is offensive, but I encourage people to do that rather than. And people, there's this whole like community of online and people that suggest that masturbation and pornography is addictive and it makes you like weak and not goal oriented, and it makes you dysfunctional, and it makes you and the real and it makes you not want to get married, and the reality is it's completely opposite. Like, I'm strong, and I'm happy, and I'm not energy of have get off every day, have self intimacy, have sex with myself. It's my willingness to do that that makes me not want to engage in premarital intimacy. And people say that if I do it, it's going to make me want premarital intimacy more. I'm telling you, this is my experience. You can't deny my experience. Uh, Again, it's important to, on the path towards the spouse, you want to qualify and disqualify people, and you also want to know what parameters of race, and ethnicity, and age, and because what ends up happening is if you don't have this list down and approach it from a scientific angle, even if you're not ready for marriage, which is really important to admit that you're not ready, but even if you're not ready, you should still have parameters and sense of what you're looking for. And then instead of looking at people and speculating, wishing they like you, you know, you need to say what you are. Like, here's what I mean by this. I mean, you should be able to, just like if somebody's smoking, you find out they're smoking a cigarette, or for me, for example, like another turn off is breast implants. That takes an attractive woman to a zero. Like, and I actually prefer a flatter chested woman, uh, because I'm more oriented around the vulva. Uh, but but uh, but the reality is that if you really know yourself, you can say no to people and premarital intimacy, and even this nervousness of hoping people like you. Like, if somebody's not attracted to you, it's like if they're not your spouse, so you should want them to be attracted to who they want, and you should find someone who that's you should find someone who has the same values as you do. Let's see, anything else? Mm. So part of it is living in a culture which puts an emphasis on marriage. And like I said earlier, why would women invest all this effort into college and then stop the career entirely and then have kids? Like, it makes more sense for them to do what? Maybe learn some things in college, but not spend so much on it, and make it like maybe learn from, like, it's a little complicated, but one thing is, I think it's easier if there's separate schools for like wife school, and like mother school, and it's all with women around, so there's no men to seduce or manipulate them. Mm. And also, I don't think women should have to work that much. I should think they should be able to stay home more often and like do things like go to the gym and then they should have kids and women should like make food at the home and there should be more homemade meals as opposed to buying you know that's pre-made and whatnot. Here's a good one. If you're not thinking into the future and about going through hard times together, then it's not love. Because it's love is only love when it's proved by going through hardship together, and you don't break up, even though health and wealth, ups and downs. If you don't want to raise a child with someone, you don't love them. That's another gauge, and another gauge is, let's see. Let's see here. Okay, I already did all that. And another thing is, yeah, men who are polyamorous, let's call it, they're neglecting their spouse. And why would you want a woman who's like half-hearted and kind of submissive and willing to tolerate other women around? Like, why would you want a fierce woman who's very loyal and very possessive of you, right? Okay, what else? And another angle on this is like in the past, people thought cigarettes were okay. Doctors approved of them, and doctors didn't wash their hands. Like there's a lot of stuff. Okay, there's a lot of stuff, and you got to that we've gone through in the history that should indicate that maybe there's stuff that we're doing now that's unsustainable and unhealthy. Okay, so here's another one. There's a difference between just wanting to have sex with someone versus wanting to have a child with them. Like really wanting your child as a man to grow inside of a certain woman. How healthy is she, right? And then people, if they are they saying that they don't think true love is possible? Um, all right, so is masturbation biblical? One thing I'm trying to do is appeal to the churches, like try not to go too much into the idea that. See, here's the biggest problem with the whole Jesus God idea is that it makes people irresponsible. Like, for example, a lot of Christians are not into trying to live as long as possible and like go vegan and be really healthy because they're thinking that Jesus or going to heaven will resolve that. But really, you have to, if you really believed in Jesus, then you should try to be creating a heaven on earth yourself and try to take initiative on that. So it's a little trick that gets people lazy to say that, oh, Jesus will take care of it all. But I'm still trying to appeal to the Christian and Muslims community. Do you think it's a good idea to be someone of different values? So yeah, when you are with someone, it should be because the main reason for marriage is because you want to promote your values with someone. A woman, you want to have children and raise them in the same values that you have. Like that's like the reason for marriage isn't. It's not just because you want to have kids and it seems like the thing to do. Because people who have an idea of they love their kids, if you really love them, then you would treat it like a business of educating and preparing them for life. Because you can't really love someone if they're really financially and emotionally dependent on you. You should raise them to be financially and emotionally independent of you, so that way they can voluntarily, maybe in the future, be part of your values. Adopt your values and be like a brother or spiritual sister to you. That's why I invented this idea of the VS fam, which is life, family. Okay, I'm gonna end it there. Let's talk. Uh, reach out to me, comment, and let's do this. Take care, guys. Oh, and the last thought is, uh, yeah, like these guys who try to, seduce women and have multiple partners. It's really shows their low self-esteem, that they don't think they're worthy of a spouse. They've given up on the idea of true love. They need other women around them to validate and prove that they're, mentally and, and physically attractive enough. It's like, if you really know who you are, then you don't need. And it's their unwillingness to love themselves, to to unwillingness to have sex with themselves, you know. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, encouragement to use it's called a Doc Johnson uh, stroker. You can look it up. I think they're the most realistic to a real vagina. Doc Johnson. Let me look it up. I think called the main squeeze. Let's see here. Yeah, it's called the main squeeze line of products. Let's just these basically these products. So yeah, thanks for being here with me, and yeah, let's talk more. And by the way, if you can afford it, buy multiple of the main squeeze, because it allows you to uh, experiment with which ones feel better relative to your own privates. All right, guys, take care.